Welcome back to our channel. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are coming in or watching our video for the first time, please don't fail to give us a thumbs up and also subscribe if you've not. But if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back once more and having your time or your spare time to go through our videos. So on this day, we're just about to go through the political electionary processes that are taking place or unfolding. Because these days we don't know what is true anymore, and we don't know what's a lie. Why I said that because sometimes you hear so many things about so many events. Because just the other day, just a few days, I think during the weekend, Saturday, Peter Obi was in Lagos. So when he came to Lagos, was it Saturday? I think. First of all, he went to some market, Ladipo and Alaba, Computer Village, etc. So, but like usually, most of these markets, anywhere in that country called Nigeria, are dominated by a certain tribe. And Peter Obi himself happened to be or belong to that tribe. And these tribes are known to be very disastrous. So I think you know what I'm talking about here. So Nigeria is not like any other country where you go to certain places and you see everybody just within or doing that same thing and and things like that. Even in Lagos State, where the people from the southeast are not originally from, or let's say some of them, because I cannot say that Lagos has become Lagos, because as a former seat of power, you can imagine what Lagos is supposed to represent. You represent the center of the country as at that time, both in commerce and in administrative and what have you. Talk less of now that all the seaports in the countries are not working except that of Lagos. Just imagine that, because when I was growing up as a child, I used to remember Warri Port used to be functional. So even at the time, even when I still came to Europe, Calabar, what do you call it, Port Harcourt port was still functional. So, but today, as we speak, in 2023, it's only Lagos Seaport that is functional. So, but Lagos tend to be like the property that belongs to as Lagos as Lagos. It's like Lagos is seen as our own. When I mean our own, I mean only for the Yoruba speaking people. So, but at the end of the day, when I say Yoruba speaking people, it's not like all the people that now, or most of them that now exercise power and political power in Lagos are from Lagos State. No, many of them comes from every other adjacent states within the Yoruba, enclave or the western enclave, whether Ogun State, Osun State, Ondo State, or what have you, etc., etc. You can be drafted in, to to represent Lagos. So, which is not a new thing. So, but it was during the Tinubu time that we saw some differences in all of these things. That Tinubu, you can't take that away from him, because Tinubu saw that Lagosians were not necessarily their worries alone, or those who were from the Yoruba race only. So he saw reason to appoint so many people, even Igbo as commissioner, Edos, the same thing, or let's say Delta, the same thing, into his cabinet. Because I still remember that the then police commissioner, although he was working for the federal government, Mr. Arabame. The man was from Edo State. So, but what I'm trying to say here is that when Arabame finished as a police commissioner when he left the service, then Tinubu have to retain this man. So I think it was the man that founded Lauma or LASMA as at that time. So and he was there, for so many years before I think he either found something else doing or he retired or what have you. So that is kudos to Tinubu for that. Tinubu did that and made that possible. But what I'm saying here today is that whenever it comes to the issue of Lagos, it's like there are no other people living in Lagos anymore because this is democracy. If you actually said democracy is what do you call it? You know, a system that has to be determined by the people. You say the government of the people by the people, right? And for the people. So which means it's the people, it's not the land or the trees or the environment that tells that. It's the people that will determine who governs them and how they are governed. So, but who are those people that live in Lagos? Are they the Yorubas only? You can argue and tell me that, okay, the Yoruba make up a large percentage of the people in Lagos. That I will not know for now. But what I do know is that whatever it is, that Lagos has become, Lagos has transcended that level that we have to be, we have to of trying to be tribalistic to that extent that one will be thinking that Lagos is made up of Lagos. I live in Lagos, you know. I live in Lagos for quite so many years, even before I left that country. So I still remember my neighborhood that I used to live in. If you ask me, the majority of the people that lived there then, they were all non Yorubas. Yorubas lived there, but in my compound alone, I can tell you 90% of them were non-Yorubas. On the street alone, the same thing. You wonder, so say, what is this man talking about? That is the truth. Maybe now you can also reflect back to where you live. If you know you once live in Lagos, and try to know, or try to reflect to know the kind of people that were living in your community or in your area then. You see that they were either Calabar, Edo, Delta, Igbos, etc., Benue, etc. Majorly, that's what I'm talking about here. I'm not telling you that Yoruba did not own most of those buildings. Yorubas own buildings there, and the same thing, Igbos also own buildings as landlords. As at that time, I'm talking less of even now. So what I'm saying here is that when Obi visited Lagos this time around, he went to this market. Then a lot of people took this proportion or took it out of proportion to be saying that he went to the market there, to see his kinsmen, and what have you and stuff like that. But even if that's the case, first of all, his kinsmen, of course, are his kinsmen. Just like Kwakwasoke to Lagos the other time, he went to the Hausa quarters, to go and visit his people also. So, but he came to Lagos. Then later, go ahead and do his thing, his political, what have you. So I don't see any reason why people should be always trying to take the matter, and make it an issue of, tribals and what have you. Because anytime there's election, there's always this problem and this tension between Igbos and Yorubas. It doesn't matter where they belong in that electionary year. Because in 2015, during the Buhari and against Jonathan campaign, it was the same thing. It was Yorubas against Igbos or Igbos against Yorubas. And then just imagine the people who were running for the destiny then was one is a Southern and the other one is Northerner. The Yorubas were supporting the Northerner. Fine, that was their choice, and they enthroned the Northerner. into the seat of power. Then in 2019, it was two Northerners fighting for the same thing, Atiku and Buhari. Again, Igbos took side, with Atiku. While the Yorubas, or most of them, took side with uh, Buhari, with the hope that after Buhari, then they will have a shot, at the presidency, which is maybe what they were promised. But at the same time, if you recollect, the same people were making promises to the Southeast then. I remember when Buhari told the Southeast, vote for me, then in 2023, then we'll support you, to have your own candidate, vie for the seat of power. The same thing Atiku said, vote for me. In 2019, they were saying no, telling the Igbos or the Southeast that the Southeast should vote for them, that 2023 will be their own turn. And then Atiku was saying that he was going to run for only one term. Now Atiku is back again in 2023. So which means it's just exactly what people were saying then, that Atiku cannot be trusted. That even if he had won, it means that even if he had won the election then in 2019, of course he would have still go for the, for the second term. That was exactly what people were saying then, that Atiku cannot be trusted, that he will definitely run for a second term, that the Southeast should not take the chance, that the South should not take the chance, and the Buhari camp was telling the Southeast then that you don't have to listen to Atiku, that they should just allow Buhari to get the second term, so that the next time will be for the South, and definitely the Southeast will be supported, so that the Southeast can now, get their chance to vie for the position of the president of the Federal Republic. So that was then. Now in 2023, they are back again. Then this time, what is going on, what is just flying around now is that Obi went to Lagos and did not, try to see the Oba, whatever, and things like that. So that now it has become another form of disrespect, etc., etc. That he has visited every other countries and stuff like that. So let me see what Obi have to say to that, because the airwave is full of this story.
I've lived in Lagos for a long time, and everybody knows that I have the utmost respect for Oba of Lagos, and I've always done so to every other traditional rulers. My royal fathers have for me, they are my fathers, and I respect them. Wherever I go for rallies, I've been to 36 states of the Federation. It is usually the local people that organize our rally and tell us where to go. And everybody knows that on my arrival in Lagos, I did ask that I want to visit the Oba, whom I regard as a father figure anytime, anywhere, And this is not the only place it happened. I've been to a few states where the emir, the Obi or the Oba was not readily available. So mine is to apply to visit them on a new date. This is not the only place. But people, when they're looking for you or they want to go, they try to capitalize in one way or the other. Some even said, that he refused to see me or didn't want to see. It's not true. The truth is that when we arrived, we wanted to do what we used to do, arrive and drive to the palace and see the Oba or the Emir, and we're told he is not readily available, that we should apply and come at some other date. And that we intend to do, because he remains a highly respected father to me and to the entire nation. And that we will do. So there's no issue with that.
So if I get it clearly, Mr. Obi, were you able to personally reach out, or are you willing to do that, to reach out to make these clear to the traditional institution in Lagos?
I would do that. I will do that. Shame. I said it's not the only place. There's other states where I visited that we are not able to see the traditional ruler. There's so many places. Even when I visited Imo, I've not been able to see the traditional rulers in Imo State. So I can tell you there's so many places in the north that I went. The emir was not readily available, and we are not, it is not an issue.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think you can see that, or you can hear that for yourself. So we should stop these people trying to make some capital out of this whole issue. Even when there's nothing there to actually make any capital out of. So, but when it comes to politics, every currency goes. So whether currency of propaganda, of scandal, of anything, or currency of lies. Because at the end of the day, the more currencies they dish out, the more lies they dish out, sometimes the more the people buy. So, but before you start to, try to, separate the wheat from the chaff and stuff like that, then the election will be over. So, whatever this thing that sways you might either be the positive or the negative. So that's politicians do this thing intentionally sometimes just to get the upper hand. So, but it's left for you to dissect and know, who is saying the truth and who is not, and what is important to you and what is not. So, if the Oba or the emirs are the ones, who are promising you a better future, for your community and what have you, and you want to follow them, why not? Why don't we just practice chiefdom or what do you call it, oligarchy, and whatever thing system that suits you. So, but it doesn't mean that because we want to intrude democracy, that the traditional institutions should be denigrated by any politicians whatsoever. Because after the politicians, these traditional institutions still remain. So, but the thing is that we really need a system that works for all, and that works for our people. That works for the people, not just a system that works for only the top shots or the big obas or the big TBS or big chiefs and imams and native doctors and all the rest, or traditional institutions so called. So, or chiefs. So, but my point here is that Obi Obi has already made his point known. So he's a Lagosian himself. He's lived in Lagos so many years. So that is not it's not a lie. So but maybe he has even lived in Lagos more than he has even lived in the East. If you look at it very well. So like most people are, like I just said before, most people live in Lagos. They are not from Lagos, or they are not from Lagos State, or their parents are not from Lagos State. Some were born in Lagos and they never been to their village, even up till now. It's just like a child who was born in New York, you know, or born in Amsterdam, who has never known his country, or talked less of his own village, like my children, for example. So one day now you start to categorize them as Africans, or categorize them as someone is from a village, etc. When you don't even know where that village is. So I think somehow, because most of us who are doing these things, most of us has traveled abroad, and yet they still keep this mentality, with them going, and they still grooming it, or they try to support those kind of mentality. So because at the end of the day, they will tell you that, oh, Nigeria is not mature enough to be a country like that, to accept things like that. Maybe you are right, but at the end of the day, you have to call a spade sometimes, straight to the point, and stop beating around the bush. So that is it. So for me, Obi has said it, and he has told you what it was Lagos to do and how he planned to do it. So everyone should. If you don't agree with him, why don't you ask the Oba, or ask any other of those people who work around the Oba, to know if it's true that they were contacted and that they were the ones that said so. Because it's even possible that, okay, they contacted the Obas, and maybe the person that they contacted there was even a pro-Tinubu person, and they just tell the other guy, say, tell him that the Oba is not available. You should come back another time. So because everybody already know that Obi was coming to Lagos, of course, to come and do his thing. So but then why should that be a problem? Not to me. It shouldn't be a problem to you or to anyone else. So that's how I see it, my brothers and sisters. Please, if you've not subscribed on this channel, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up all time, all time, all the time, and share, share, share. To so that videos can be recommended to others. It's all about we're all concerned about one thing. Having a Nigeria that works for all of us. So if that's the truth, please